And it's definitely giving honor, if you will, to this aspect of duality. I'm going to read it really quick. Okay, so it says here, this is embracing the energy of love. Okay, as most of the decks usually embrace the energy of love. You deserve to be loved fully and completely on your own terms. Check in with your closest relationships. What needs to be addressed? Are you at a crossroads? In a lot of different Afrocentric type of spiritual practices, this is represented by the twin energy, right? In Haitian Vodun, we call them the Magasa. You'll hear different names. You'll hear the Ibeji. Basically, it represents like the duality aspect in those different spiritual practices. The twin ancestors show up together to represent love of all kinds. This is familial, it's romantic, divine, and one aspect I think that's not often emphasized is self-love. The twins are heart-led, passionate, and crave connection. And one of the things it says in here is to bring your whole self, not just part of you, bring your whole self to all loving unions. Okay? You are worthy just as you are. It says here, the ancestral memory, the twins are depicted by ancient Marasa or Jumeau twin Loa deities of Haiti, renowned for their healing powers. And it says here, the ancestral medicine, my child, there are those in your bloodline who didn't know love or who considered it a frivolity. Do not let this be your inheritance. And the shadow aspect of this is you do not need to be in a relationship to be whole. There may be a need for introspection, resolving inner conflicts before seeking connections with others. Your current relationships may have disharmony, imbalance, or conflicts. And the correspondence, of course, is the lovers. And the declaration here is, I am worth loving and I am love. So oftentimes when we see the lovers card, especially this one, when it's represented, and I'm going to ask the chat this, when you see this card, right? What often comes to mind? What comes to mind? And usually it is depicting, or it kind of gives the energy that this is connected to romantic love. Okay, the love that you have or experience in a romantic relationship. Rather, this one. Okay, this card depicts a relationship kind of love. So the love that you have outside of yourself. Yet very few often see this as the relationship that you have within yourself. Okay, so it's really important. So one of the things that this energy gives a lot of attention to, whether it may not actually appear as that, this is why I connect with this energy a lot more, because it doesn't necessarily give a lot of that, that passionate love that this one, that this one kind of alludes to. Because the lover's energy is very much connected to the love that we have within, right? That's part of what the lover's card represents in tarot. While many often see it as the love that you share with someone else, an important aspect of the lover's energy is the love that you have within. It teaches you to go within. In fact, for this one, the shadow aspect of this, which typically, when I think of the shadow aspect, it's kind of saying that there are things that you're not seeing that you get to uncover in order for you to remove blockages. Because I always see shadow aspect as being something that is hidden or something that you're not necessarily seeing that you get to work on in order for you to progress. So many a times we are blocked, we're experiencing blockages, partly having to do with the things that we're not seeing. And this is having to do with the things that we're not seeing within. So when it's talking about the shadow aspect, and different people may interpret it differently, a major aspect of not really seeing the full extent of this love is it's connected to the things that we get to work on. Okay. So for example, right, if the lover's energy embraces like this divine love, it's love on the highest scale. Okay. This is what I see when I see the lover's card, right? It's love in its, most powerful form. So when we're not experiencing this, or we feel like we're not experiencing this, I feel like a major aspect of that is connected to, okay, what am I not doing? Where am I experiencing blockages? What do I need to look within in order for me to progress forward? Where is the disharmony? And a lot of times, many of us are looking for, we're looking for this kind of connection, right? We're looking for, the passionate love, the love, that we share with someone else, not having worked on the part of us that is necessary to work on in order for us to then experience love in the highest form with someone else. And I think that's the case. Like, no one actually ever completely works on all aspects of themselves. Yet what I do see, though, is that the people that tend to find those romantic connections are those that know how to give it to themselves first. It's challenging for you to be in a connection if you're not connected within. And many of us could also wonder, okay, why is it that this person is in a connection and, this person, they seem to be so selfish and so self-centered and part of that is that they know how to direct and guide that energy towards themselves, right? That saying that you really cannot, or it's challenging to love someone else if you don't know how to love yourself, is really true. And this is a major aspect of this lover's energy. It really challenges us to focus all aspect of us to, let me make sure I'm saying that right. It challenges us to really look within first and foremost and see, where the blockages are. That's one. And also challenges us to focus within and give that attention to ourselves, because many of us are looking to, give it, we're like, okay, I'm this loving person. I know how to love. I'm very sensitive. I know how to give. So why is it that I'm not finding someone, or why is it that I'm not connecting with someone and I'm not able to share that? Well, did you ever think that part of the reason that is because your spirit guides are wanting you to be able to give that love to yourself before you give it elsewhere? Do you know that some of us don't even know what it's like to take ourselves out, to have dates with ourselves? And dates doesn't necessarily mean, you have to go out, but spend time embracing and loving yourself, whatever it is, however that looks like, whether it is cooking a wonderful meal for yourself, that like your favorite meal. Many folks are waiting for someone to treat them to their favorite meal, or they're waiting for someone to treat them to their favorite flowers or whatever it is. And they don't know what it's like to do that for themselves, right? And a lot of times, folks get angry because the people that they're with, they don't know how to love them, yet they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to show that love to themselves. In essence, kind of like waiting for someone to show that to them, to validate them, instead of showing it to themselves and validating themselves, validating that powerful love. Like, really think about it. If you're someone that has this huge heart and you know how to love, why not allow yourself to experience that by giving it to yourself first and foremost? See what it's like to give it to you first and foremost. What does it feel like? Do you even know what it feels like to love you? Do you even know what it feels like to embrace you? Do you know what you like? Do you know what makes you happy? Like, these are all questions I think when it's talking about looking into the shadow aspect of this lover's energy. That's what it means. You get to ask yourself the questions that are essentially important for you to experience love on this kind of level. And a lot of times when it shows two people, I really do feel that in essence, it's just yourself looking right back at yourself. Like, a lot of times it's not necessarily you facing someone else. It's actually you looking at yourself. When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and smiled and, really saw yourself? Okay. So this analysis of this lover's energy, it's not always what we think it is. It's not always the love that we know we can give to someone else, yet we're not sure of how to give it to ourselves. We're able to see someone and how they love, yet we're not sure of how we love, because we haven't even given it to ourselves. So in essence, when we see this lover's energy, the twins is, essentially, like, part of that is you looking at your mirror reflection, you being able to look within and seeing exactly who you are, and being able to love that person regardless of what it is your flaws. Well, part of it is also knowing what your flaws are. Now, that's a challenging aspect of dealing with this lover's energy, is looking at yourself and seeing the flaws. Do you even know what your flaws are? Or are you one of those people that's like, well, I have no flaws. Like, the last 10 people I dated, there was an issue with them. There's nothing wrong with me. Right? Is that you? Are you not able to see where the pieces fit, what it is that you get to change in order for you to adjust, right? So part of it is being able to look at self, and part of it is looking at the flaws that we have, and even admitting that we have flaws, right? It's essential. And there's almost like what's the word I'm thinking about? There's almost a humility aspect of this energy. Like, I really appreciate looking at the lover's energy with this card, especially because it essentially shows love as being very innocent. You see the children represented here? It's showing them as being very innocent. Like, one thing that, you can definitely see about this is that it's showing the energy of humility that is often necessary in order for us to first love ourselves, right? And then be able to love someone else. So I think that Gemini season, for the most part, is going to challenge you to look at those connections. Essentially, that's one of the energies. And I'm going to pull some cards in a minute. With all of this said, is that Gemini season is going to challenge you to look at the connections that you have. First and foremost, the connections within yourself. Whether there are conflicts, whether there are things that you may not have thought about for yourself within, as well as others. Okay, where is the disharmony here? Where's the stuff that you get to tweak in order for you to refine yourself and essentially become the greatest version of yourself? And for those of you who are saying that you're not in a connection because you're working on yourself. And I know that may be the case for for a lot of folks. They're like, I'm not in a relationship. I'm not ready for that because I'm still working on myself. That is very honorable, okay, to definitely work on self. And just know that you're always going to be working on yourself. It's not an end goal. It's not an end destination. You're always going to be working on yourself. And as long as you're living, you're evolving, you're growing, you're going to be finding, it's like, and I can also identify with, like, growing things, right? Because my father was a farmer. So essentially I'm a farmer's daughter. So a lot of the analogies that I use is with farming. There's an essential aspect of growing things that if it's not done, the plants won't grow. And many would say it's watering, which is essential. It's important. Watering is absolutely important. Many would say that it's getting sunlight. Oh yeah, absolutely. Important as well. Many would also say it's giving the plants nutrients. Oh, absolutely. Giving them nutrients. Yeah, what is one thing that oftentimes people ignore when they're growing things that is essential for the growth of those plants? Let me see if you know what that is. It's called pruning. When you remove the leaves, when you remove the elements of that plant that is the dead weight, that essentially, if you don't remove that, the nutrients will not go towards the part of the plant where it needs it the most. And it's essential that we do that on a consistent basis. Okay, so that pruning is not something that, and I'm going to still use the farming analogy, right? Farmer's daughter. That pruning is something that you do throughout the life of the plant. Because as long as the plant, needs to flourish and it needs to bring fruit, you got to keep pruning it. Because the nutrients that you put within the dirt that allows the plant to grow, the plant is not going to get all those nutrients unless the dead weight is removed, unless those dead leaves are removed. So you got to continually prune the plants. You got to continually prune within yourself. And the pruning happens on so many different levels. The pruning sometimes is people. The pruning sometimes is mindset. Okay? And this is part of how you know that you're growing. Like, your mindset is changing. The mindset that you used to have previously is not the mindset that you have now. Okay? That is a result of you pruning, removing the dead weight, the leaves. So it's people, mindset. Sometimes, okay, it has to do with, and mindset, I think, works in tandem with, your spiritual path, elevation, all of that stuff. It works together. And sometimes the pruning has to do with the physical space that you're in. Sometimes you can outgrow the physical space that you're in. Okay, whether this is work, whether this is the community that you're in, anything having to do with your surroundings. Sometimes you do find that you end up outgrowing that physical environment. And it's essential that, right, you remove the layers in order for you to be able to grow. So, that's some energy that I definitely wanted to put out there. And also keep in mind that this is the number 6. It's connected to the number 6, which is connected to Venus energy. And you already know, planet Venus is about self-love. It's about the love that you have, different types of love, familial, romantic, all of that. So you already know. You already know what the connection is. So as we enter Gemini season, and we're literally just entering it. These are some thoughts and some energies that you get to consider in terms of elevating yourself to a higher vibration. Okay, so I'm gonna also, as I mentioned, I'm gonna also pull some cards for you to see what is showing up in your energy for this season. This